Now every time I start the camera, traffic comes by. Okay, so I decided to take a copper squad on the truck here. Had to plug my phone up. My battery was going dead, and I only have 100 feet of extension cord, so this is as far as I can get. We're up here. I'm at the mountain top property. Only this is the one that's right on the main highway. So again, as soon as I start recording, traffic starts flooding. But let's see if I can keep my power cord out the way too. But here's the only recovered 55 grain bullet out of, I believe, 73. No, take that back. I shot 77 whitetail with this bullet. I've shot 73 with this load. The 73 was with my tack powder load. The rest of them, the other 4, were 30-31. So anyhow, hopefully we've got enough resolution on this to see. But here, which will focus, is the little 55 grain Hornady soft point with the candelure. Let's see if I can cut some glare. And this is comparing it to the 65 grain Sierra Game King Spitzer boat tail. And hard to hold the phone and work these at the same time. Yep. I'll do this. If y'all will excuse me for a moment. So this is a side-to-side comparison of the 55 Hornady and the 65 Sierra. And here is the only recovered bullet out of any of the 223s. With my AR, I have shot 98. All of them one-shot stops. Most of them dropped. A few of them made it a little ways. But as you can maybe see here, we've got good expansion. I know I'm not going to focus up close, but the bullet basically stopped at the candelure. The reason she's a little lopsided is this did hit a few bones. So the bullet went in, and I was shooting, according to the laser rangefinder, it was roughly 420 yards. I'm shooting a 16-inch barrel carbine Ruger AR-556. Generally at that range, I'll only take a neck shot on them, as you've got such a velocity drop. Basically, according to the ballistic calculator, which is basing everything out of an AR on a 20-inch rifle barrel, the velocity at 400 yards is dropped off so much that we're down to roughly around 400 foot-pounds at that distance. Out of a 16-inch carbine barrel, I'm going to say we're probably roughly around 300 pounds is all we have. And a rough guess, I would say maybe 1,500 feet per second velocity, which isn't a whole lot. However, what was surprising on this is when I shot the deer, it went in. She was on a quartering shot at 420 yards. The bullet went in front of the shoulder. I was aiming for her neck and the chest area, so I was trying to take a spinal shot up on the neck. The other problem that I basically had was that was the first time I'd hunted with a scope pad. Just to give you a quick background here, I used to run when I first got the rifle, I put a cheap little, I think it was $36 Tasco 3x9x40 buck sight. I put the gun on, and in the 5 seasons I guess I hunted with it, or 5 years it was on, never touched it. Zeroed it, forgot about it. The nice big trophy 12 point that I took was the biggest one that's ever taken off the property. Biggest buck I've ever shot, and only about the probably 4th decent buck I've ever shot. I go for does and little ones. I'm a meat hunter. As my Uncle Leck used to say, you can't eat the horns. But anyway, it was the only one I could get a shot at. He was 235 yards. I dropped him in his tracks. All the does were out 300 mark, 350 mark, or excuse me, 100 to 150 mark. But they were through the brush. Him, I had to stand on tiptoes and through a little window in the brush line. Yeah, I'm waiting on the Harley Brigade to come through here. Okay. Anyway, generally, you know, the longest I would ever take a shot on would be about the 300 yard mark, 350 yards, because of the short barrel and the velocity drop at those ranges. So that's why when I started taking the shots at the longer ranges, I always go for a neck shot, because it's either going to be a hit or a miss. Broadside, it's pretty easy to hit, but not get a good hit and still not have enough energy. So basically I'll take a neck shot just to make sure it's a clean, quick kill. Pretty much even with 38 special energy, neck shot, still going to be an instant drop. If you don't hit the neck, deer's clean, goes on its way. So that's the reason behind that. So anyway, this one, back to the scope. My friend from Arizona came in. She had an AR. She was talking to me about, boy, I'd like to have a scope, but I never could hit anything with them. I said, well, how did you zero it? She said, what do you mean? I said, you didn't adjust the zero to, you know, point of aim, impact. She said, oh, you have to do that? Okay. So they say she got a 3-day schooling in ARs and scopes and ballistics. Anyway, we went to Walmart because she liked my scopes well. 36 bucks, 200 yards. She pulled my AR out, never had shot it. Had 4 16-ounce Dr. Pepper bottles filled with water, 16 ounces, not 2 liters. And she proceeded to hit 4 out of 4 at 200 yards with these 55 grainers and a $36 scope on a 16-inch carbine. Needless to say, we went to Walmart. Of course, they were out of that scope. They didn't have any. So they had a Simmons 3x9x40 target model. Not a big Simmons fan. Needed a scope. That was the only one in the store. She'd already ganked mine off my rifle, my rear sight, half my magazines. So she bought that one. Of course, it was, you know, quite a bit more expensive. It was like 56 bucks, whatever, with tax, 54. Anyway, I slapped it on. It's 30mm tube. Now to make a long story short, fortunately I had some left over from a Bushnell red dot I had. So I had my mounts. I was in business. Getting to the point here, I sighted the rifle in at 120 yards with that scope. Fairly close. Didn't pay attention at the time. Instead of having quarter MOA click turrets, it was 10th MOA, being a target scope. So I got close with 8 rounds. I used 8 rounds to sight the scope in and went hunting. Well, I sighted her in at 120 yards, and you know the difference between 120 and 420. So to make a long story short, when I hit the deer, I hit her high, right in front of the shoulder. The bullet went through on a diagonal. She was standing, I said, about 45 like this. Again, can't point here, but about there where my thumb, hit her right here. Anyway, the bullet traversed. It was high in the chest cavity, went through the chest cavity, went above the heart, still got the lungs. Basically, it went through, or went in between the second from the rear and third from the rear ribs on the opposite side, and the bullet was just under the hide. When it went between the two ribs, it still somehow had enough energy to bust those ribs. So that's where our nice little non-uniform mushroom came from, was hitting bone. And I really did not think, with that much muzzle velocity drop and that low of energy, that I would get that much penetration. Yeah, that's almost 2/3 of the way through the deer on the quarter-inch shot. But that's what it came out as. And that's the only bullet out of 77 of these 98 .223s total that has ever been recovered. All the rest have been complete pass-throughs. So there we have again the only recovered bullet ever from a .223 out of nearly 100 deer. And no, they're not very big. So basically that goes back to the whole, proves the point. People say you can't hunt with a .223, yada yada. Bullet selection. People don't know the difference in a varmint bullet versus a game bullet. Again, this is actually listed as a varmint bullet by the Hornady, but that's because of the weight. But this is the number 2266. They make one without the candelore, looks just like it. That's the SX, super explosive. You get about 2 inches of penetration. That's it. As I said, these 55s, they basically, this one stopped right at the candelore. The candelore kept the jacket together, kept it from shedding, stopped the mushroom, got the penetration. The reason I dropped to these 55s is when I started with the 65, even on slight quarter-inch shots, most of the deer I shoot, they were all broadsided. 100, 120, 150 yards where I was hunting at was about the longest shot I was ever going to get. Thought, okay. The bullets were going completely through, even, between ribs, bouncing off ribs, hitting bone. They were still going completely through the deer before they would expand. Wasn't expanding fast enough, wasn't getting enough expansion before it exited. And before y'all say quit hunting rabbits, these are 100, 115 pound deer. Granted, I've shot several 70s, 75s out there. As I said, I shoot the littlest one in the bunch. I'm not proud, I'm hungry. So that's the reason I dropped to the 55s. Lighter bullet, figured it'd be quicker expansion, a little better velocity in the out to 200 range. And they have just been devastating on the whitetails. The first one I shot with it, and when I dress a deer, I know I'm kind of a mess here, but I'll split them from xiphoid to throat. I'll split the rib cage completely open. That way you can open them up, you get a nice easy package. Every one of these opened up basically is like pouring tomato soup out of a can. Heart, hardly ever found a piece. Lungs liquefied. The whole chest cavity it was literally like pouring soup out of a can with this little 22 cal bullet. And I know the anti-gun folks are going to get on here and start the whole, destructive power, destructive power. Well, this isn't for them. This is for y'all. But it definitely doesn't do what a 243 with an 85 grain does. That's just gruesome. Real quick footnote on there, since we're talking about the 85s. I'm loading the 85 grain Sierra boat tail hollow point for my friend Sylvia. She claimed it was because she changed ammo and her rifle wasn't zeroed for it. I claimed no, you just missed. She finally fessed up and said, yeah, I had a bad shot on it. Anyway, she hit the deer right about halfway between the front of the hind quarter and the back of the ribs. She said it's the awfulest thing she ever seen. She basically gut shot the deer, but said its intestines, she's a veterinarian, she knows the insides and outs of animals. She said it was actually tripping on its own entrails. Its small intestines were hanging out. It basically took its guts out the backside. And hopefully YouTube doesn't gank my video for this, but I'm just trying to talk about how to be humane. Yeah. So, good clean shots, shot placement, proper bullets. That's the purpose, not to be gruesome. But it ran probably 150 yards before it got in the thicket. So, back to y'all that want to claim about all the destructive power of the 223. With the right bullet, it's effective, but it's nothing compared to any other round. And once again, even with these bullets, shot placement is critical. Again, that's why at longer ranges, neck shots only. It's a clean hit or a clean miss, no in between. So that's the entire only ever recovered bullet story that y'all asked for. So here it is. Now I have to go to the gun shop and pick up y'all's $337 plus tax worth of powder, just so I can set it on fire for you tomorrow. Say bye.